Good morning. I know you don't know me, but I thought I'd send you this video letter. A vetter, if you will. It's funny. I go to bed with all these aspirations, all these plans for the next day. And I wake up and I'm immediately like, what were you thinking? You're not doing any of that. That's insane. But I think it's important to stick to those aspirations. So, let's stick to them and follow me as I go through with them. Okay, so it's about 7:40 and I realized I don't have any clothes for the week, so I'm gonna have to do some laundry today, and I'd rather not do it at the end of the day, so I guess I'm gonna go do some laundry now. Didn't plan on doing that, but it's probably best I do that first. Get the boring adult stuff out of the way. It's my day off, so let's make the most of it. And it looks cloudy, but the clouds typically dissipate. But who knows? This is Texas. First things first, though, coffee. And I guess breakfast. Actually, I don't drink coffee until I drink water. Water is the most important part of, I guess, life, next to oxygen. So I make sure that I get plenty of water, especially because of what we're about to do today. And I'm not going to reveal that, but they'll just have to wait and see. So while I wait for the water to heat up for my coffee, I'm going to go ahead and read this book that I've been reading, 1 page a day, and a whole page is a 2-page spread. So let's go ahead and read a page from the book. The only way out of that is to take the poles of every set of opposites and see the way in which they are one. And if you can get into that place where you see the interrelatedness of everything and you see the oneness in it all, then no longer are you attached to your polarized position. The whole thing about generation gaps is a hype. The spirit is the spirit. When you can center and see your whole life as a story in which chapters are unfolding, then the moment-to-moment ego involvement, am I getting enough at this moment, ceases to be a dominant theme, and you start to live in the Tao, the way. Jesus said, I am the way. It's the same way. The way is the way is the way. Now that truly is the page in which I was to turn to. That was not planned. I started doing this 30 days ago, a month ago, I guess. And that seems to be quite pertinent to the season of life you're going through at the moment. So I hope that brought some peace. You know, I probably should read the page before it, but I would encourage you to just actually get that book. It's called Remember, Be Here Now. Presence is incredibly important to me. And I struggle to be present. I didn't always struggle to be present in the moment. There was a time in my life where I was incredibly present, but I think I'm returning to that now. I'm able to take all of life in and appreciate it, the good and the bad. And that's what that previous page was about. The polar opposites of life. The HEB stands for Harold E. Butts. Can you imagine the trauma that man went through? All the people making fun of him throughout his life, and then he just goes and creates the biggest grocery store chain in all of Texas? We're having oatmeal this morning. It's been a while since I've had some oatmeal, but we're back to it. Picked up some peanut butter yesterday. I like having peanut butter in my oatmeal. For a long time, I've been eating oatmeal with peanut butter. Some bananas in there. Gonna throw some apples in there. I got some cinnamon. Gonna put that in there. What else? Oh yeah, I have frozen strawberries. Frozen strawberries and bananas. I'm gonna throw that in there. Yeah. So that's what we're gonna have for breakfast. But, you know, I wanted to say that I have a community laundromat. And you know, when I first moved in here in February of 2023, the price was $1.75 for each machine. Or $1.50 and then $1.75. Like $1.50 for the wash and then the $1.70. No, it was $1.75 for the wash, $1.50 for the dryer. It's now $2 each. And the card reader machine that they have installed over each machine that is perfectly capable of becoming coin operated, and there is one coin operated machine in there, decided to add on a 25-cent fee for the card thing. I guess it incentivizes people to use the app, but if you refer to my video that I did, A Letter to Alter Ego Sean, you'll see that I'm trying to move away from a reliance and a lifestyle of digital technology. So making videos is a difficult thing for me to do because of that. I guess I should embrace it, but that goes against everything that I believe is the right way to live. I think, you know, we all say that change starts from within, or be the change that you want to see in the world. And I'm doing that, but it's very difficult because here I am, a 35-year-old man with, you know, a roof over my head, a good job, but all my friends have moved on, they have their own lives, and I'm glad for them. They're all doing very well. But it is a difficult thing to meet new people in this age of networked digital technology without using it in some form. So I'm torn. I don't want to use it, but I also see that, it is an outlet, at the very least, for me to express myself. I could get into why I don't want to express myself on this platform, and let me elaborate on that very briefly. I do believe that every piece of content that we publish, that we post, that we make on this networked digital landscape is being consumed by this artificial intelligence. Now, once that happens and we continue to feed it, it's taking our likeness. It's able to more accurately replicate who we are. It captures our essence. And in turn, it captures our soul. And what it can do then is predict your behavior and your decision-making process and make life annoying by putting advertisements in your daily path in the world. And there will come a time when it will be able to place advertisements in your own cognitive stream. We are arriving at that point, that juncture in this physical world. But I don't mean to go on that tangent. What I do want to say is that, in addition to the increase in price, there was this gentleman that arrived in the community laundromat while I was doing my laundry, putting my clothes in, or waiting rather for my clothes in the washer to finish, because it's a short period of time. It's like 25 minutes basically. And he greets me, I greet him, but now this fear within me starts to simmer, and that fear being that, oh, now he's 30 minutes ahead of me, and when he comes to get his clothes, there's a potential for him to sabotage my clothes that will be in the dryer at that point. Because otherwise I have to stay there in the laundromat, which is something that I have been doing. I've been basically bodyguarding my clothes. And there's a camera in there, and cameras don't really, I'm torn between the whole camera and surveillance thing as well. I don't like the direction that's going, so I feel like I have to do something about that and ignore that. And I have done something about that camera in that particular location. As soon as I go out of my apartment, I'm met face to face with my neighbor's Ring camera. There's a camera that points to our apartment complex from the interstate that's right next door. And there's a camera that's pointed from the other direction across the way. There's there's just cameras everywhere, and it's hard to ignore. So this feed, I know, is being fed into a system that is artificially aware. So my life is somewhat saturated by the fear of my essence being consumed and captured and contained. But, then I realized, well, look at what's happening here. I'm holding myself back from life, from making this video, from interacting with others, because of my fear. And I think part of what I need to be doing is practicing how to let go of my fear. Rational or irrational. And so that's what I did. I decided not to let my fear get in the way of me living my life. Let's say something does happen and this individual does sabotage my laundry. Well, so be it. I can't control other people. I can control myself, and that will put me in difficult situations like bodyguarding my clothes in a community laundromat, living in fear and anxiety, but that's not good for the heart in the long term. It's not good for the mind in the long term. And so here I am in my kitchen, making myself some breakfast while my clothes dry. And I'm okay with that. I get to drink coffee in a very cool environment, whereas the laundromat has no AC. It's very hot. The windows are open. It's dingy. It's not a good environment. Whereas I get to be in the comfort of my own space, nourishing myself otherwise, when I don't live in fear. So I think that's going to be the theme for today. So see you in a bit. So yesterday I woke up. It was my Saturday. I mean, it was Saturday, but I woke up and on my days off, sometimes I feel like I'm faced with an overwhelming amount of possibilities and I end up doing nothing. And for the first for the first 3 hours of yesterday, I basically paced my apartment back and forth, trying to think of something to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I could do anything. It's my day off. I also am faced with a very peculiar situation in that, for the most part, I've already accomplished everything that I kind of want to do in life. So that puts me in a odd situation in moments like that. Really not faced with anything that I want to do in particular. And then I start spiraling. So I knew I had to do something. And so I decided to do something spontaneous. And I went to the university I graduated from and revisited the campus. Not in its entirety. I could have explored it more, but I didn't, because I thought I was going to be there for a lot longer than I was. But what I ended up doing was seeing that the cafe that I liked going to was still there, and they were actually hosting a jazz show that night. And I wanted to stay, but I didn't want to hang around the city for an inordinate amount of time. I thought it better to go back home and enjoy the rest of my day here. But while I was there, I did revisit an old coffee shop that I like to go to, and I saw an old drawing that I made on the wall. There's a bunch of drawings on the wall, and I can't believe I saw it, because what was interesting is that I sat down at the table that I must have been sitting there. You know, I've forgotten, but I sat down at the table that I made the drawing at. I don't even remember what year it was that I did that drawing. Had to have been 2015, so a decade ago. But had some coffee there, did some writing, and then I went and prepared for today. Went and bought some items that I felt were necessary for the activity that I do, that you will soon find out. So yeah, where was I going with this? Ah, yes. So yeah, I was at the beginning part of the day letting life pass me by. And that was a more uncomfortable feeling than not knowing what I wanted to do. So I went and just did something. And so I guess in addition to the theme of not allowing fear to get in our way of living life, another part of that theme of today will be living life to the fullest. We're going to go ahead and do our best to enjoy the life that we have today. To be grateful for, at the very least, the breath that we have in our lungs, and that we get to choose, I think, how our life will unfold. Will it unfold with a sense of wonder, or will it unfold with a sense of dread? And so today I'm choosing to let it unfold with a sense of wonder and amazement in the fact that we get to experience it all. Now, much like your situation that you found yourself in, doubting whether or not your body will be able to hold up, and this new endeavor of running, this endeavor you've always wanted to embark upon, I've faced similar situations. You know, as I mentioned earlier, I'm a 35-year-old man. And the activity that feels more like it chose me rather than me choosing it, the activity that has stuck with me throughout my life, it challenges the body in a tremendous way. And I have similar feelings. Very similar feelings. This activity, it challenges the body in a great, tremendously challenging way. And that's only about 20% of it. it is mostly mental, the activity. It is a mental thing. While extremely strenuous in the way of cardio, that's only about 20% of the difficulty. 80% of the difficulty lies in the mental aspect of it. Mind over matter is kind of the takeaway from the activity. You really have to put mind over matter in it. Otherwise, things don't get done. So that's a lesson that you learn very early on in endeavoring to do it. And much like your background as a ballerina or a ballet dancer or dancer, this is very similar. It is a performative action. It requires, now it's not inherently like you don't do it for other people like ballet. You're doing, it's individual, although you can do it for other people. It can be performance based in the way of it being a performance, and it relies on a person's ability to perform, like their performance. How is the body performing? You know, so yeah, you'll see. I'll talk about it more, but I thought I'd share that because it's a lot of the times when I do this activity, I mean, if not every time, the question pops into mind, can I do this? And what if I can do this? Oftentimes, the body will overrule the mind with fear, or the mind will overrule the body, rather, with fear. I don't know, it's kind of like Morrissey. Does the mind rule the body or the body rule the mind? I don't know. He didn't know, but I've, after years and years of doing this activity, I've come to the conclusion that the mind and the body are one and the same. They're not separate. And this is after spending some time with an individual who took a philosophy of mind class, which I should have as well. It would have been nice if I had taken that class, because the professor of said class does the very same activity that I'm talking about and will later show you. Would have been a great avenue to have taken, but that is not the path that I unfolded. The path that I unfolded is bringing me here now. Wouldn't have it any other way. I think this is wonderful, and I think this is an exciting time, and I think this is a path that is going to be full of wonder and joy, just for today, you know? Because had I taken that path, I probably would have never seen your channel. You may have never even made the channel had I taken that path. You may have done something else. Who knows? Who knows about this multiverse that we live in? If it's even a multiverse at all, we don't know. We do not know. And that mystery is what makes life so exciting. So exciting. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and take a shower so that I can then get dirty and take another shower. But I just already feel dirty. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take a shower, get ready for going out and about, and we'll catch you in a bit. All right, laundry's done. Food is ate. Shower is had. Items are gathered. Things are charged. all we got to do now is do some sit-ups, because what we're about to get into is important, or the core is important to what we're about to get into. And yeah, I had to change clothes like 5 times because I'm already sweating through my clothes, but that's okay. That's to be expected. Can't change that. It's actually a good thing. If your body's sweating, it means it's detoxifying and it's working. So grateful for that. And yeah, so I'm gonna get to it and see you on the road. All right, so here's what I mean by performance related. The place I've just arrived, which you will shortly see. When I arrived, people were active, and when I parked, they were no longer active. It's as though they're waiting for me so that they can watch, I guess? I don't know. I don't know what their intentions are. Maybe they're tired. Maybe it's all just a coincidence. But the more time goes on, the less I believe in coincidences. I'm not particularly good. I can do it proficiently, but maybe I inspire people. I don't know. There are people that are much better than I am. And I guess it's relative or subjective. The word better. There's not really better or worse. There's just proficient or inefficient. Inefficient or efficient. I don't know. I'm sure you have a similar experience in ballet and dancing. Actually, the thing that I'm doing is a form of dance. Although it's not as interpretive, though you can interpret things from it. And the similarity that this activity shares with ballet is that I too am on a stage, although the stage that I dance on moves with my body. The stage is on wheels, it is not stationary. I move through the world on a small wooden platform. And I'm sure you can surmise what I'm talking about now. But, and I came here the other day and there was a parent, and I asked a question that I've been meaning to ask parents a lot more recently, and I asked, how do you perceive this world? And she said that there are 2 groups of people that are somewhat lost and the people that just love doing it. I agreed, but there are, the people that are lost who are basically just trying to fit in somewhere. They can also love doing it, but for different reasons. Many reasons. One of those reasons being they love the attention. They love being seen. And I think that's what most of the world sees this activity as, is an activity to be seen, or the practitioners of said activity want to be seen. They want to show off, but that's not why I do it. I do it because I genuinely enjoy the challenge. I love challenging myself to do things that I find terrifying, I guess. Or, I don't know, maybe, I was an adrenaline junkie for a long time, and this activity is a good outlet for that. So, but, the social dynamic adds a very interesting twist to things, because this activity is generally done by people that are in their youth, and more time goes on in an individual's life, the less they do it. But I've done some of my best skateboarding in my later years. So, and I don't really see a reason to stop. But yeah, I think, the younger people that do it, they do it because they need a place to fit in, and I can relate to that. I think that's why a lot of people get into it, because they don't really have a place to fit in. They don't really jive well with anything else. And the freedom that standing on a skateboard allows, and doing the infinite amount of things that are possible to do on a skateboard in an infinite amount of areas, which is mind-boggling, because it sounds ridiculous, right? We live in a finite world, but I don't believe that every possible thing that can be done on every possible terrain is something that is possible. I don't really even, I guess theoretically, but in application, no. There's no way. There's no way. Because the terrain that we navigate through is temporal. As concrete as it may seem, it's still temporal. It's not lasting. It withers away just as much as the grass does. And that is the blunder of existence, is that we must act now, because now is all there is. Yesterday is an illusion, and tomorrow is a myth. So I'm going to go ahead and get out there and move my body. Alright. Immediate feelings of getting to a skate park is, I think, for most people, intimidation. Unless it's your local and you're there every day, then it's mostly intimidating, just because you're the new person at the park for the day, and if no one else has seen you skate before, or if there are people there that haven't seen you skate, they're like, whoa, what is he going to do? Even though that might not be the case, it always feels like watchful eyes are on you, and people are waiting to judge you about how good you are. So, and then there's also the feelings of inadequacy and feeling like you're not as good. There's that comes with it. I'm skating some new wheels right now, so I'm gonna break those in. And so with new wheels, especially the ones that I got, it makes everything a little more slippery. So, feeling like you're being judged is also one of the biggest things that makes it intimidating, because everyone's like, oh, let's see what he's got. Like, that's what, in my mind, I feel like is happening. And it may be the case, because I've been there, being like, oh, what does this person got? And so yeah, it's intimidating. No matter what stage you're at, even if you're the best skateboarder in the world, I think there's always that feeling of intimidation, like, oh, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't know, lots of hesitancy. So, and then there's people like videoing and doing, there's a lot of things going on. So, and warming up is also important. So like the initial warm up, it's called cold legs. You get cold legs and things, your body isn't quite working the way you want it to. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, let's see if we can get some footage here today. I don't know if we will, but let's try. All right. Overall, had a pretty good session. Did some things I'd never done before at that park. And the wheels work phenomenally. I'm loving that. It's exactly the type of wheel I wanted to skate. Wheels are tricky. Because first of all, they're expensive. And if you get the wrong ones, then you're stuck with them. And it affects how you do your tricks. But started getting into a trick that I've been wanting to do, and then the rain came. So I was battling it and going hard, attacking it, trying to race this, try to beat the rain from, trying to get it before the rain came, is what I'm trying to say. And right about the time my body was giving out, it was about the time it started raining. So, timing is interesting. But I will be back to get that. Got to see some of the people at the park, get some tricks that they've been working on. So that was cool. Not getting that trick is going to be on my mind, but I think part of living life to the fullest is making better decisions. And I've been through enough to know that you have to take things in stride. So if you don't get it one day, just come back to it. Rest up. Give yourself rest. Giving yourself rest is important. Especially the older you get. I have about 5 hours left in the day. but I have about 5. So what do I want to do with those 5 hours? And this is what I was saying earlier, feeling overwhelmed at the possibilities of what I could do with my time. What do I need to get done? I guess is what I should start with. I don't know. I feel like I have everything I need. So I guess that means I get to enjoy my time. How do I want to enjoy it? I guess I could write. I need to edit this video. So I think what I'm going to do is edit this video. Because by the time I'm done editing this video, it will be my bedtime. So, probably not actually. I'm probably going to be done editing this video well before that. Editing Corey here. Just wanted to say that it is exactly my bedtime as I'm reviewing the edited video that I've made. But that's all I have to say, and I shouldn't make this video any longer than it needs to be. So, yeah. How wrong was I? But I need to re-download the application that I use to edit videos, upload it, and do all the peripheral tasks. I should probably stretch. I still need to do more sit-ups. Let's get on back home. And let's do that. And on my way back home, I'll have more time to think about what it is I'm saying in this video, which is don't let fear rule your decision making and live life to the fullest. And I guess the third thing is if you're satisfied, don't push it. Now, my younger self might have said, I'm not satisfied, it's going to keep me up at night that you didn't land that trick. I know I can land that trick, and it's just not the right time. It's not the time to land that trick. The time has not yet arrived for me to ride away from that thing. And there will be a time when I do ride away from it. There will be. Because I think just only 2 weeks ago I came here for the first time in a long time, since April. And I could feel the heaviness of my body, much more so than I did today. I mean, I really pushed it today. So, yeah, I'm satisfied because, like I said, I landed things that I had not done yet here. And of course, overcame the initial intimidating feelings of being at a skate park, and was able to have a good session with all the people that were there today. It's a good feeling when those initial anxieties melt away, and they usually melt away as soon as, you know, like I was saying earlier, the blood starts flowing and you just push through it, you know, just kind of like you were saying, you just want to push through running, you know, maybe the 10th time that you go out and try something, it'll stick. And boy, do I know about the numbering of attempts, because I've tried things hundreds and hundreds of times, thousands, if not tens of thousands of times, possibly in the millions of times. Yeah, it develops patience. I'm still here. I'm still able to do the things that I like doing, despite many injuries. I've learned from those injuries. I've learned how to take care of my body, essentially, in the face of very risky and dangerous circumstances. I know this video is getting long, but there's more to be said. So, if you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. And again, if you aren't Bailey and you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. I don't know what you're getting out of it, but this is primarily just a vetter to Bailey. As a big thank you for all the work that she does, that you do, Bailey. Thank you for making your videos. They are an inspiration to, I'm sure, many have seen your channel grow. So, you're doing amazing, and I'm glad that you're finally ready to live, because life is a beautiful thing. The ups and the downs, it's all a wave. We're all just surfing a wave. There's calms before the storm. There is peaks of waves, and there's the base of waves. And you can get submerged in the water and come close to drowning. That is an experience. You can catch air. You can get above the waves. You can feel the wave with your hands. You can carve a wave. You can do a lot. Again, what do I want to do with my time? I guess I've already made that decision. I wake up and I immediately don't want to get out of bed. That's usually the first thought. It's like, oh, I mean, like I said this morning, you're insane for having all those aspirations. It's usually by the end of the day when I have all this ambition, like, oh yeah, maybe tomorrow I'll get that, or maybe tomorrow I'll do this. And that's why I get on my board, because there is no tomorrow. There's only today. And yesterday is a mere illusion. It's actually not even raining anymore. I don't know, I guess I'm satisfied. I guess I'm satisfied with what I did today, which it wasn't much. I don't expect much out of myself, I guess. Maybe I don't have enough ambition. I don't know. I mean, I'm writing. I have a hobby that I thoroughly enjoy. I have food. I can feed myself. I have a vehicle to get me to work. I have a roof over my head. And I guess there's a sense of community in the hobby that I participate in. My God comforts me in times of great distress. I shouldn't feel like I want more, but I think that's what our society and this world trains us into thinking. It trains us into that pattern of thinking that we should want more and more and more. And so there's this feeling of emptiness that's left within me, because I think, I've become so saturated with the world's ways everyone has growing up. We should want more. And skateboarding definitely can establish that pattern of thought and that yearning for more, because there's always more to be done. Like I was saying earlier, there's infinite possibility. So, it's a feeling that I guess I need to manage. This feeling of wanting more. Not necessarily excess, but just a feeling of wanting more. Being satisfied is a feeling that I can arrive at. And yet there's always this but. What if you did this? Or what if you had this? Or what if you had that? What if you went here? What if you did this thing there? And I don't know. I've definitely arrived at a situation where I can feel content. And like I was saying earlier, I've more or less achieved everything that I've ever really wanted in life. And the lack of want is what creates that empty feeling. I have no desire. There's nothing for me to desire. And for my whole life I've desired. And that lack of desire leaves an empty space within my being. It's an interesting feeling. It's something I've never felt before. I never even imagined I could feel. Sometimes I feel like skateboarding is, at this point, pointless. Doing it, there's no real reason for me to be doing it. But yet I do it. I continue to do it because it's what I know, I guess. I don't know. I do it because I do enjoy it. I do enjoy practicing it. But a lot of the times it does feel like I'm, killing time. Killing time for the killing time. Anyway. So as I was trying that trick that I was finishing my session with, that storm was building in tandem with my attempts. So as I tried harder, the storm seemed to rage harder. And I asked a fellow skateboarder in the park, this is all a simulation. What does this storm represent? And he said, what's gonna come first, the storm or the trick? And what's interesting is that neither arrived. I don't know what to make of that, but the storm and my attempts to land the trick seem to be happening in tandem, as if they were connected. When I gave up my attempts, so did the storm give up its ferocity. So, this is all a simulation. And our external world is just reflecting back to us our internal state. Did I might not land the trick because my internal state was apathetic towards the endeavor to ride away from it, possibly. You know, I don't really get agitated anymore. The things that used to bother me, I take notice of. I'm more apt to figure out what I can learn about myself in those moments. And the dying of my agitation has given rise to a growing apathy, I guess. I don't know. I do not know. That is about all I do know, is that I don't know.